What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Sports Jedi Network here on YouTube, Twitter, Kick, Rumble, X, wherever you're watching. I am your host, PGH Chris TV, live here for your Wednesday, March the 4th AEW post show. I apologize for going a couple minutes late, but AEW seems to go 17 minutes late over their supposed time. They're supposed to be 8 to 10, and I'm going live here at 10. Well, they're going off the air here at 10:17. So it's we got a couple things to talk about. But first, before we get into the show, thank you to everybody who's joining me here on a Wednesday night. Shout out to all of our sponsors. Shout out to Dude Wipes. The sponsor here of the Sports Jedi Network, as well as Blackout Coffee. Use code Sports Jedi 20 for 20% off your order here at Blackout Coffee, as well as my sponsor and affiliate, G Fuel Energy. G Fuel, use code PGH Chris to save 20% off your order at checkout, or go to gfuel.com/PGH Chris. Shout out to our friends, our guys over at Wrestle Soup. Thank you guys for, promoting our show, promoting my stuff, Kev's stuff on your platforms. It's really much appreciated. Shout out to everybody who supports the channel. Aaron Loves Wrestling, Alex Coquito, all these guys, all you guys that support us. Thank you. We appreciate it. We're going to get into the AEW Dynamite post show. I don't think this show was necessarily as hot, or not much going on in the last 2 weeks. I know the last 2 weeks we had Hangman and MJF for stipulation purposes. I know we had all these other things. We did get 2 world championship matches. That was one thing to keep an eye out on this show, was we had Thekla defending her world championship, and we did have MJF defending his world championship in a match that I thought wasn't bad. But before we get into the show, they were in El Paso, Texas, at the Don Haskins Center. Not a sellout this week. They did sell out the last 2 weeks. I think they had around like 400 tickets left exactly for until they were a sellout. But still didn't look bad. They were in El Paso. They've been starting off the show a couple of weeks, now with a recap of AEW Collision, which I think is cool. I think it's shout out to our guy Daniel. Thank you for being here. Happy Wednesday. What's good, guys? Thank you, man, for being here with me on a Wednesday night. We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this post show. Let me know if you enjoyed AEW in the comments section tonight. But thank you, Daniel, for being here. Thank you for being here always. You're always here supporting, me, Kev, everything we do. So hope you're having a good night. Hope you enjoy the show. But yeah, I like when they start off with the AEW Collision recaps. I think, there's a lot of things going on a Saturday night, whether you're out with your friends. I know I'm busy out with my girlfriend sometimes on a Saturday. This Saturday was the Elimination Chamber. This Saturday is, I believe, an NXT pay-per-view, but I'm going to be watching, get ready for UFC 326, right? Yeah, 326, not 328, 326. Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. And they've been getting me up to speed on the AEW Dynamite, which they needed to do for a while. I know on Saturdays they do that with Collision because they want you to watch their main show on Wednesdays. But I feel like for me, who doesn't have the time to watch Collision, I feel like it's nice for them to recap on what I missed. And the thing is, I'm going to be honest. I might not thought I've ever say this before, guys, but I'll be honest. I think AEW Collision the last couple of weeks, I have not watched it, but the card and what I'm seeing through the recaps, I might watch the first hour this Wednesday or this Saturday before UFC. Before I'm not watching the prelims, so before the main card, I actually might check out Collision. Can't believe I'm actually going to say that, but I just wanted to say that they started off the show here with the Collision recap, and I thought that's cool. Catching me up on Collision, what I missed on Saturday. I used to watch Collision, even a little bit after Punk left on Saturdays, but there's other stuff to do. But let's get into Dynamite from tonight in El Paso. They started off with the World Championship match. MJF, your champion, defending the title against Kevin Knight. They said no commercials. There was one picture in there towards the end of the match for 90 seconds. But I thought it was a good opening match. I thought Kevin Knight, again, got to show off what he could do. Now, I don't see what people see on Kevin Knight personally. What I mean by that is I see a lot of people, Kevin Knight's the future, Kevin Knight this. No disrespect to Kevin Knight. It's just there's a lot of people that do the same things he does. I look at him and I feel like I see Ricochet or like a taller Leon Slater or like a Will Ospreay. I just there's so many wrestlers that do the same shit that Kevin Knight does, and to me, he does not stand out like a lot of the people that I just mentioned. Um, so I think that's what hurts him, personality wise. But I think he's a good wrestler. I think he does good stuff. He got a lot of the offense, doing a lot of his moves outside, diving over the ropes. MJF out there with the spot. MJF also got his spots, especially in the beginning, where I like where he controls the match. That's what one thing MJF is really good at in his matches is controlling the match, especially with a guy like Kevin Knight. My only problem with this, and I had the same criticism for CM Punk on the Elimination Chamber on the WWE side of things. I'm gonna say this right now. I don't like the idea of MJF defending his AEW championship. Why? Because you're building up this whole thing to Revolution. The match is already set. You have your Texas death match. I just don't know if, again, that's worth it. Because to me, and I said this with Finn Balor, it's like, I know Finn Balor's not going to win. I know he has no chance. I know WWE wasn't going to jeopardize him or CM Punk versus Roman in the main event of WrestleMania. This is what this is. We know Kevin Knight's going to win. They're not going to jeopardize MJF versus Hangman in the main event at Revolution. So to me, I don't know why the match happened, but it wasn't a bad match. Now, I understand, right? Kevin Knight is in the same faction, trios tag team champions at this time with Hangman. So he kind of wants to beat up MJF because he sees what he's doing to Hangman. But at the same time, Kevin Knight wants to prove to us why he should be in the world championship picture, why he should be challenging for that title, maybe one day being the champion. But to me, you could have done this maybe a Dynamite or two after, but I digress. This was still a good match, good way to open up the show. I did say on my end on PGH Chris TV, which you guys can go subscribe to. I'm almost at 50 followers. I only started the channel in December talking about Steelers football, but I talked a little bit about AEW and I previewed it, and I said, well, we know Jon Moxley is going to start the show. He's been starting the show the last few weeks. That's usually what he does, and he didn't. It was different, especially with the women's championship match later at the end. You kind of knew that one of those matches were going to start. So I liked it. Good start for AEW, and MJF wins. The match ends around 8:23, 8:22. We move on. They go on to the second match, which is Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors versus Darby Allin. I think we got something here. Yes, we got our guy Pendejo, Darby Allin, and my most hated wrestler, the guy who I think is the worst wrestler to ever step foot in this company.
Es una mierda. Es una mierda.
Orange Cassidy. And you know what? I'm actually, I like that we got Darby in this match, because if this clown would have showed up, Tomohiro Ishii, if he would have showed up tonight, I think I would have turned off the TV and I would have said, fuck this, because I'm not wasting my Wednesday nights talking about Tomohiro Ishii. So I'm just kidding, but I'm very happy that we got Darby Allin instead of Tomohiro Ishii. But they had the match. Excuse me, as I'm trying to fix the thing on my mic. We had the match. It was okay. We knew the match was coming on because of what happened last week on Dynamite, where Orange Cassidy took on Gabe Kidd one-on-one. Where after the match, Clark Connors gets involved. He starts beating up on Orange Cassidy, and then Darby Allin comes out the skateboard and attacks both of them. We knew this match was setting up. Now we got it. They started off beating each other up before the bell even started. Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd come out. They start beating the shit out of each other. Gabe Kidd had, now this is what I can't stand. Gabe Kidd is standing on top of the table with Orange Cassidy, and he has him in a guillotine. And instead of Orange Cassidy passing out right then and there, he gets out of the guillotine, starts punching Gabe Kidd, and I'm sitting to myself, what? How is that even possible? He should be passed out on the floor. And then Clark Connors does what he does, and he gives Orange Cassidy a spear onto the table right next to the announce table. It's like a spot table set up to the next to the announce table, right in front next to the commentary table, right in front of where the announcers sit, like where Justin Roberts and all them sit. Excuse me. So that was okay. I'm not surprised. I figured Darby would be the one to start that shit if he was like the last one to enter, but he wasn't. So not bad. But Gabe Kidd, they do that. They get in the ring. It's Gabe Kidd and Gabe Kidd and Darby Allin in the ring, one-on-one for a little bit. Clark Connors gets up eventually, goes to the apron. When Gabe Kidd, starts beating up Darby during the picture-in-picture. And to me, I'm like, okay, they're doing the picture-in-picture. Why? Because they're setting up Orange Cassidy to get up, come back, and get this big hot tag. You know what ends up happening? Orange Cassidy comes up into the fucking apron and acts like nothing happened. Now, he's trying to sell that spear that he just took by Clark Connors to the table. But then he gets tagged in and he starts hopping around doing his orange punch and whatever the fuck he likes to do that I think's dumb. Is, it's only 3 moves. You know how me and Kev always talk about Elijah or Elias? Now on TNA, Elijah always playing the same 3 damn chords, 7 Nation Army. This is what Orange Cassidy is. He's the wrestling version of Elijah. The same fucking 3 moves. Then he gets in there, and then Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors, they're trying to double team him. They're beating him up. And then what does Orange Cassidy do? He does a stupid mid punch. I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know what to call those. I don't know. And the thing is, what's up, Aaron? Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed Dynamite. Let me know in the comments. Did you enjoy Dynamite? How did you feel? But I hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed your Wednesday night. Hope you enjoyed the show. But they did that. Orange Cassidy. I don't know why the crowd even likes that. I don't know why the crowd really likes Orange Cassidy doing that. He comes up, nothing happens, whatever. After the match happens, we see David Finlay interfere. He starts beating up Cassidy and Darby. Now, the crowd went dead silent. The crowd went dead silent. And I'm going to say this because I saw a couple things on social media. He didn't get the pop. Guess what? He's not getting the pop in WWE either. I hate to break it to you guys. And you guys know who David Finlay is. He's Fit Finlay's son. I mean, wasn't this the guy that was rumored to be going to WWE? If he shows up on NXT, I think the community would think that's a good move. But no, but he's on Dynamite. So it's bad. I mean, bro, I don't see. How do I explain this? I don't blame people for thinking that because we see it happens. It happens with people coming into the company. They have some, momentum from other places, and then Tony brings them in. They don't really do anything with them. But my thing is this: like David Finlay. Now all the Bullet Club War Dogs members are in AEW. Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd. Could they have explained it better who they are? Maybe they do that next week because I think the official graphic popped up that they were signed with All Elite Wrestling. So they are All Elite. I mean, I like it. I know some people might not. I'm a fan of David Finlay. I think he was the only reason I even tried to keep up with New Japan at this point. I think he does good jobs with his promos and all that stuff. Now, here's my thing. Here's what I'm worried about. And you know what? I could see why people have that assumption from David Finlay coming in. Like, oh, he's just another guy. Because this is what I'm worried about. You notice how Gabe Kidd, like to me, when I watched Gabe Kidd before he really started doing his thing with AEW, it was a whole different Gabe Kidd. To me, Gabe Kidd was one of those guys that you wanted to hear on the mic. You wanted to hear what Gabe Kidd had to say because he felt real. It was like one of those things where you can't control this guy. You can't tell this guy, what to do and what to say. And is that a problem? Is that why Tony won't let him really cut promos or anything that much? I don't know. I don't know. So maybe, you do the Bullet Club War Dogs in AEW. Maybe you have David Finlay be that type of guy that is the leader, that can be the voice. And maybe we see them go on a run because, spoiler alert, the trios titles are now on an actual fucking trios team. So we could very much get that. And I think we will, guys. I think we will. There's no question about it. There's no question about it. But before we get into what I thought was hilarious, I thought was ridiculous, I want to hear from you. I want you guys to hear from our sponsors, Blackout Coffee. Let's take a quick second here. Let's digest and let's hear from Blackout Coffee.
Sports Jedi Nation, you already know how I move. I don't start my day without two things: standing firm in what I believe in a cup of coffee that actually represents those values. That's why I rock with Blackout Coffee. It's a 100% American company, unapologetic, patriotic, pro-Second Amendment, and anti-woke nonsense, no corporate posturing, no virtual signing, just real coffee for people who still believe in God, family, and freedoms. Every bag is a roast right here in my beautiful state of Florida, and it's shipped straight to your door. Fresh, bold, no compromises. If you need to hit the ground running, the Morning Reaper I suggest, a medium roast that goes smooth, powerful, and kicks like a mule. Support a company that actually gives a damn about this country. Go to Blackout Coffee Rumba. Use my promo code Rumba for 20% off or Sports Jedi 20 of your first order. Blackout Coffee. Wake up, stand up, never back down. Fuel your freedom. Real coffee with real values. A bold, backed by freedom. Wake up and think free. And may the sports be with you.
Yes, that is Blackout Coffee, one of the official sponsors here on the Sports Jedi Network. All right, guys, let's talk about the inspiration, shall we? They made their AEW Dynamite debut, and it wasn't pretty. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. It was not pretty, at least in my opinion. I know other people might have a different opinion about it, but let's talk about it. So the inspiration come out there. First off, they come out in their TNA music, which they kept their TNA music. I was familiar with their theme song. Cool. Wasn't bad. But then, Alex Windsor, Jamie Hayter, they come out. The match starts. First off, they got booed. I don't know if I'm the only one that heard that. I don't know if I was hearing something different, but they got booed. And I don't know. They got booed. The crowd didn't like their entrance. When they got in the ring and they started doing the that cringy shit, like I always complained about in TNA, and they lost in 4 minutes. I'm going to say this right now, and I tweeted it. The inspiration inspired me to go take a break. Because I said this. When if they got released, they left TNA, whatever the situation was. I said the AEW audience is not going to resonate with these two. They're going to think she's cringe. They're just not going to like them. I know what the AEW crowd likes. They like the Theklas, the Statlanders, the women that are not afraid to, get dirty and bloody and have these matches, brouhahas. Those are not those two. Now, me and only Kev knows where I think they should really end up, and I'm never saying that on air. Only Kev knows where I think the inspiration should really end up. And it's not in AEW. It's not in any wrestling company, I'll tell you that. But they're just not they're not good. They're not good. I'm going to say it. I apologize. But they're not good, man. It's I had the same issue with them in TNA, and I'm gonna have the same issue with them here in AEW. They're cringy. They're not good on the mic. They can't tell a story. What happened to Peyton Royce and Billy Kay, the two iconics that were honestly one of the better, annoying bitchy heels on WWE television during that time? Where are those two? I actually thought Billy Kay was good on the mic. I was actually happy for them when they had their WrestleMania moment before they got released. What happened to those two? This just feels cringy and boring, and I don't know. And speaking of cringy and boring, we got Hangman Adam Page in action taking on some jobber. What was his name? Marty Snow? Is that what Tony Schiavone, or is that what Excalibur said on commentary? His name? I don't think they put a graphic like on the screen of his name. I don't think they put that on this for him because he lost the match in 5 seconds. He got hit by Hangman. Hangman got out, hit him with the buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. The match was 5 seconds long, literally 5 seconds long. What was his name? Marty Snow. Someone in the chat, please tell me what this jobber's name was. Marty Snow. Anyway, it doesn't fucking matter. Marty loses in 5 seconds. Waste of time. This is at the point. I'm at the point now in this show tonight where you're getting to like the 9 o'clock, 9:15, and like, what are we doing? Like, again, I said this in the beginning, right? And before I really started to break down the show, I'm not going to say these shows are too long, but when you have a 9 to 10 slot and you're going till 9:20 every fucking week, why don't you just go an extra 30 minutes? Why doesn't AEW just say, hey, Warner Brothers, hey, TBS, all you're doing after all that's on right now is a rerun of Impractical Jokers. Here, I'll check for you guys right now. Is this a rerun? Is this a rerun? Yes, it is a rerun of the Impractical Jokers. So why can't you just put AEW on the air for an extra 30 minutes instead of rerunning old Impractical Joker TV shows? And no disrespect to Sal, Murray, Joe, whoever. I'm sorry, I forget the Impractical Joker's names, and I apologize. But sorry to those guys, but do people even watch that shit anymore? Do people watch the Impractical Jokers anymore to be like, oh, I can't wait for Dynamite. I can't wait for Dynamite. I'm still watching Dynamite, almost finished. Have the women's main event, women's championship and trios championship left, but so far not a bad show, in my opinion. I'm glad David Finley's in AEW. Well, Aaron, I appreciate you joining me, even though you didn't finish the show. I don't want to give you spoilers before you watch those 2 matches. So thank you for joining me. If you decide to leave, I don't blame you. Because I'm not there yet, but I will be soon. Because in my opinion, nothing happened to a point on AEW this week where I'm gonna be on. I don't think I'm gonna be on here for a while again. But you guys in the chat, you guys kind of dictate how long I'm gonna be on here too. Because the more chat engagement, the more people say hi and give me your thoughts, the longer I'm on here. But I'm gonna give you guys my full honest breakdown of the card, and if it's interesting, it makes for better conversation. But cards like this, it's just, man, a lot of nothing. But yeah, I appreciate it, Aaron. Hope you enjoyed those 2 matches. I'll try not to spoil anything for you, but again, I probably will, unfortunately. But hang in there. But yes, where was I at? So they had that. MJF comes out. What was I talking about? Yeah, so Hangman, they do that. Marty Snow comes out, wins, whatever. After the match, MJF and Hangman have like another segment where Hangman or MJF walks out. He has the microphone, he's talking, and then Hangman's talking, whatever, in the ring, and Kyle Fletcher comes out. He attacks Hangman, and we're just like, whoa. I'm like, what, why would those 3 people be attacking Hangman Adam Page. And then it came to my head for a second. Oh, Hangman Adam Page is 1/3 of the Trios Tag Team Championship. Now, I didn't think they'd do the match tonight. I thought they'd do the match maybe on a Collision because there's still a couple weeks left until Revolution. But what they did here helped, even though it was long as shit, they helped build that main event up in the end of Revolution. Now, I'm for the main event of Revolution here at the end of the show, and we'll get into that. But Don Callis, he comes out, he calls for a trios title match for the main event tonight with Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis, and Okada taking on Jet Speed. That is obviously Mike Speedball Bailey and Kevin Knight. And Hangman Adam Page for the titles, for the trios titles, and that match would eventually happen. I honestly thought Thekla and Thunder Rosa would main event, just because they, the championship. I am in my early 20s, but this has always been my thing, right? I do like a lot of the old school ways that people go about things, and to me, I have always believed that no matter what card, it could be a weekly TV show, a pay-per-view, does not matter to me. To me, it's like, okay, I don't know how to explain it. You have your world championship match. To me, that's your most important match. That is the match that means the most because the world championship, your championship of that company is being defended. So when that's not your main event, to me, that's like, okay, but what other match is important? I don't give a shit if it's MJF and Swerve Strickland. But if Kevin Knight versus Kyle O'Reilly was for the AEW World Championship, I'm going to tell you that Kyle O'Reilly versus Kevin Knight for the AEW Championship is the main event over Hangman or versus Swerve and MJF with no title. Now, obviously, MJF versus Swerve is the bigger match, and that's the match we all care about. But I'm going by logic here. Since this match is for the main event, that should be your main event. I'm just giving you guys hypothetical, weird examples because I'm bringing you guys the point. I don't give a shit on who is your champion or your contender. If they're going at it for the title, that should be your main event because that is the most important match on your card, logically, as a wrestling fan. So I'm surprised that didn't happen. But we got this segment where Renee Paquette, she spoke with the Young Bucks backstage. They did like this pre-recorded movie scene type of thing where they're sitting in a conference room and the Young Bucks are sitting on one side, Stokely and FTR sitting on the other side, and the Young Bucks or FTR is talking, that there's three of the best tag teams in the new era generation were the Briscoes, them, and the Young Bucks, which I think is bullshit. I'm gonna keep saying this. I think that's bullshit. Bullshit. Oh, no way, man. But the Young Bucks, Matt Jackson gets really upset. Matt Jackson gets really upset. He starts going on a rampage about how they hurt his brother at ringside on the Collision. And I'm trying to look. I'm gonna be on. I'm trying to. Yes, it was Matt Jackson. Matt Jackson was the one that got very, very pissed off. For some reason, I almost thought he was Nick Jackson. I'm not gonna lie, dude. My Bucks. I almost just mixed matched my Bucks. All right, but Matt Jackson, he was going off, and Nick too for a little bit. But Matt was really the one that was going hard, where he basically said, "You guys made this personal. I'm not going to slap you across. I'm not going to beat you up. I want to do this in their home in California in front of their family," because FTR, and I think it was 2 weeks ago on Collision, 2 or 3 weeks ago on Collision, where FTR beat up the Young Bucks. They beat up Brother Buck. They beat up the other long lost Brother Buck. That's not a wrestler. The other Cucamonga Buck, Cucamonga Kid. So it's personal. But I gotta admit something, guys. As much as I hate the Young Bucks, I hate to admit that I actually kind of liked what Matt Jackson did there and what he said. It felt personal. Again, because of what they FTR did to Brother Buck. And I don't think you could tell they're acting. You could tell Matt Jackson's not that great of an actor, but I think you can tell he tried to give it some emotion because that is his brother, and his brother's not a wrestler. He's not involved in what Matt and Nick have going on. So I 100% feel Matt on that, and he is. There are the baby faces in this match, so I think that's the goal ultimately, and he did a good job. I hate to admit that, but I actually kind of got, okay, okay, I wouldn't mind if the Young Bucks not beat them, but beat their ass. And yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. They could have done this in the ring, instead of maybe the next match that I'm going to talk about, Moxley versus Hechicero. They could have cut out the Brody King thing, but I kind of liked. But they could have cut out one or two things to give that more time, and maybe they could have done that on television. But it is what it is. It wasn't bad overall. Before we get into the Moxley and Hechicero match, I do want to thank the official affiliate, official partner of PGH Chris TV, G Fuel Energy. G Fuel. I've been drinking G Fuel for a long time. I remember when I was in middle school here, and Face Clan, what was a popular gaming organization. I was a big fan, and they introduced the G Fuel, and I liked it. First energy drink that powder supplements that I really started liking because I was a big gamer, done a little bit of competitive in high school. So I started drinking G Fuel, and to say now that I am affiliated, I have my own code. I'm in it with the guys at G Fuel behind the scenes. It's cool, man. It's cool. So make sure if you want to stack up on G Fuel, use my promo code PGH Chris to save yourself 20% off, or just go to gfuel.com and put /PGH Chris. You'll get that same exact discount on me. Don't worry about it. I got you guys covered. If you guys want your energy, put all the sugary BS Red Bulls away. This has zero sugar. Won't give you those jittery jits that you get from the crap Red Bulls. So try out G Fuel. Use my promo code PGH Chris. You'll get 20% off. And tag me and when you drink your G Fuel or have your G Fuel. If you see G Fuel in your freaking supermarket or in your local gas station, I want you to send me a picture and at me at the Sports Jedi Network at PGH Chris TV, and we'll get the ball going. And I'll shout you out either the next Wednesday when I do the post show on my show, the PGH Chris show, or Weekly Wrestling with Kev. So make sure you come out. Make sure you guys come watch our watch-alongs too. Kev does a great job doing the watch-alongs. He did a great job doing the other post shows. Make sure you guys go check that out. He's been doing the TNA post shows. He's been doing the NXT post shows. I know last night he did the watch-along and the NXT post show back to back, and he did a good job on breaking it down. If you guys want to hear NXT's breakdown from last night, go check out Kev's video. If you want to hear some TNA breakdowns, go check out Kev's video. Obviously, I love TNA. I'm still watching it. We'll leave that conversation for Saturday, but I'm rolling the ball here on Wednesday nights, and we're gonna keep our thing. We're gonna keep our thing going, and just go check out all the content, the watch-alongs on Rumble, which all the links are in the description, and our links here on YouTube. Tuesdays, Fridays, PLEs, Mondays. We got you Thursdays. We got you covered for the watch-alongs, and as well as Kev does the reviews on NXT, TNA. We try to do a Monday Night Raw here and there, but Fridays we save it for Weekly Wrestling when we can. And then I got you here on Wednesday nights immediately following Dynamite. So that, just want to let you guys know. Shout out to G Fuel and give you guys some other programming updates here on the Sports Jedi Network channel. All right, guys. Moxley versus Hechicero in a sloppy match. I thought was very boring. I thought was, why was this happening? Hechicero looks old and just worn out. He looked like Blue Panther. He looked like Blue Panther out there. I don't know, man. The best part about this match was seeing that AEW was promoting Double or Nothing at the Louis Armstrong Stadium in Queens. I'm actually gonna try to go to that. If I don't, if I can't get in, with credentials and all that stuff, I will. I have no problem possibly buying a ticket and making my way traveling down to New York City. I had a fun time going to New York for Slammiversary, so I think Double or Nothing would be cool. Double or Nothing's always been my favorite pay-per-view that AEW's done. Some of my all-time favorite matches took place at Double or Nothing, so that's cool. But Moxley wins in this match. It was I don't see. This is the thing. I don't think it was branded or promoted as a Continental Classic match or an eliminators match. But the commentators still said that they had an elimination match. Anthony, salute. Thank you here for joining me on a Wednesday night. Hope you enjoyed the show, brother. And I hope you enjoyed AEW Dynamite. But yeah, I don't see why Moxley had the match here. It didn't need to happen. This is one of those matches. They labeled it as the Eliminators match. The commentator said it was. They didn't brand it as an Eliminators match. The commentator said it was an Eliminators match. Either way, Hedgesell didn't win, so he doesn't get a future shot at the title. We know that because Thekla is doing that. I think Moxley is just trying to take out some of the Don Callis family / affiliates out before he ultimately takes down his opponent, who's also a big part of that family in Thekla at Revolution. So Moxley wins, whatever. Now I like this. This was my favorite part of Dynamite tonight. My favorite part of Dynamite tonight was Brody King coming out there. He calls out Swerve. Why is he calling out Swerve? Because the reason why Kenny Omega had that match with Swerve Strickland, and the reason why Swerve Strickland kind of did what he did to Kenny Omega 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, and I talked about that here on the post show, was Kenny Omega said that Brody King was quote unquote the most dangerous man in AEW right now. And Swerve took highly offense to that. Swerve's like, no. I'm the most dangerous man in AEW, and I'm going to show you why. And he did. He definitely did that with Kenny Omega, proving that, whatever. So this made perfect sense. Swerve proving that he is the most dangerous guy. So again, this made perfect sense. Brody King calls out Swerve Strickland. Prince Nana comes out instead and says, "Are you sure about this?" Brody King says, "Bring his ass out there." Swerve comes out and then hits Brody King, comes out, hits him from behind with the chain. He hangs the chain over Brody King's neck. And, while Swerve's standing outside of the ring, he has Brody King's neck tied up to the ropes like this and challenges him to a match at Revolution. And I liked it because of what I just said. It makes perfect sense. He's trying to prove to Kenny that he is the most dangerous man in AEW, not Brody King. So this is a good match on the card. Now, again, I still think now they're adding a little bit too much matches on the card. Okay, they're adding a little bit too much here, but I think it's a good match to have because I think MJF did a good job of building up Brody King. He's and you could say maybe what happening with his the famous chants, which I didn't hear happen tonight. Maybe a few, but I didn't hear it. But they had, maybe that got him over a little bit, maybe in the right ways, in the wrong ways. But point is, MJF kind of made him a little bit more relevant and popular than he already was. So I do think this is a big match for him as well. I don't know if I see him going over, but I definitely see this being a good match. And again, Swerve needs to win this to keep going up in the ranks. I think he needs to win this again. I still think, and I've been saying this for the last 2 shows, he needs to come out at the main event at Revolution, whoever the winner is. And right now he's more like a heel. I think MJF's winning anyway. But that's why I don't think he'll come out, unfortunately, because MJF's the heel. He seems heel. We'll see. I don't think they're afraid to do something like that. But I don't think they should do it. I don't think they should do it. We'll see what happens with that. But I liked it. It made perfect sense. I think Swerve is proving that he's the most dangerous guy. And this gives Brody King a big match on a big pay-per-view. So we'll see. They're in California. Maybe the chance start there. We're getting ready here for our double main event, whatever the hell that means. Before they start the women's match between Thekla and Thunder, Wheeler Yuta went back there and cut some stupid promo. I'm gonna tell you guys something. I think Wheeler Yuta sucks. I think he's boring. I think he's a waste of a spot on the roster. I don't see his purpose. He doesn't know how to cut a promo. He's small. Anyway, moving on. Thekla versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's title. Now they're in Thunder Rosa's neck of the woods in El Paso, Texas. So obviously this was kind of a match for her. Didn't expect her to win. She didn't win. I think Tekla's presentation is dope. She looks phenomenal. She is very gorgeous, but she looks phenomenal, right? Her presentation, her entrance, her theme. I think all that's dope. But man, sometimes when the bell rings, it's just oof. I'm not saying she's bad, but sometimes, like, dude, those 2 spears she hit, that was some Jey Uso shit. Like, I don't know if that could have been worse than Jey Uso. That's that little current stomp that Britt Baker likes to do. She botched it. Thunder Rosa sold it. I don't think Thekla even touched Thunder Rosa's neck. And Tony Schiavone, this is my biggest complaint about the whole match. First off, Thunder Rosa is not the same. I don't know what I know she got hurt, which is, caused some controversies backstage with the women in AEW. We saw that when AEW tried to do their version of WWE Unreal with AEW All Access. The women hated Thunder Rosa because she was hurt, didn't defend the championship, but then was going out and doing seminars and all this stuff. I don't know. I don't care. That was 3 or 4 years ago. But my point is, she was on a roll. I thought she looked very good and very strong in the ring. I thought she was the best. Her and Britt, I thought they were the best. And then she comes back from this injury and looks like abuela, looks like a grandma. What the fuck? Stop cooking in your underwear, mija, and get in the ring. Let's go. This was bad. I did not like the match. Aaron, if you're still in here, I don't know if you want to get spoiled, but this was bad. Another thing. Why was this bad? You guys can see Thunder Rosa calling the damn spots the entire match. The entire match. That spot in the beginning where Thunder Rosa pulls Thekla, you hear her calling it. And the cameraman, holy hell, that cameraman just wants to expose it because he's literally pointing the camera right in front of your face. They get outside of the ring. Tekla's on the ground, and I look at Thunder, and she's still calling the spot. Thank God they went to the picture-in-picture because that was bad. That was wow. I don't know if it's the Unreal and we see how the pro wrestling thing works, but dude, you could see Thunder Rosa calling these spots. Like she was calling almost all the spots. And it was it wasn't that great of a match, but Thekla wins. Statlander wasn't at the side of Thunder, and Sky Blue and Julia Hart weren't at the side of Thekla. Nobody was allowed at ringside. After the match, Statlander comes in, kind of comforts Thunder. Julia Hart and Sky Blue kind of block her from doing that. She gets through, whatever. So maybe we see something where Thunder and Chris Statlander have a match, but I do ultimately think the lead here is, unless I missed something about Revolution, Thekla versus or Statlander versus Thekla at Revolution for the title. I apologize, my mind just went blank here. Something popped up on my computer, and I thought it was some news regarding about AEW, but it is not. It is not. So yeah, I mean, look, a bad match. Excuse me. I meant to say not a great match, not that good. But I do think Tekla's presentation's well. I don't think she's bad. Maybe it was the opponent. I don't think her match with Stat was bad anyway. It was just some things here and there with the finish. So we'll see. But this is the point where I get frustrated with AEW, because this is not just has not been the last 3 weeks, but has been the entire time, at least this year, where 20-minute overruns. It is 9:53 by the time this shit goes off, right? And we don't get the main event. We get Tommaso Ciampa coming out at 9:53, talking about he wants Kyle Fletcher or whatever, Mark Briscoe, and FTR comes out talking about join us. I don't know what the hell this was. Can somebody please tell me why that this happened? What was the point? We got to stop building trios. Random trios. All right, we got too many trios coming in. Soraya's not in the company. If you know, you know. There's no room for trios anymore. She was still in a trio when she came there. My point is, this was a waste of fucking time. Again, something that didn't need to be on your show. You could have done this on Collision. You could have gave Tommaso Ciampa a whole 15 minutes to do whatever he wanted, say whatever he say on Collision, instead of him coming on at 9:53 on a Dynamite that has a main event coming up still for the trios title that didn't not end until 10:17. As soon as the referee said 1, 2, 3, I went on the air. Ridiculous. Let's talk about AEW. The AEW main event. AEW trios titles were defended here. Obviously, I told you guys earlier, Don Callis came out to talk about the AEW trios titles, how he wanted Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis to challenge Jet Speed and Hangman. And we got what we got. We got the match. I like the end. I do like the winners because I think they are a legit tag team. Trios title. They're in a faction. Okay. I think that this works. It doesn't work for Jet Speed and Hangman to be your trios titles. I'm happy they're not the trios champions anymore, because I've said this before. They're only the trios champion because Powerhouse Hobbs was running out of the door. Samoa Joe's taking a break, and they needed to get the titles off them. Jet Speed should be competing for the AEW Tag Team Championship. They should be in that division. They should be the next ones challenging for those titles and maybe win it after the outcome of Revolution between FTR and the Young Bucks. And Hangman has this thing going on. So with the world title. Now, the thing I liked the most about this match was MJF coming out there, because there was a point where I did think they were going to retain MJF and Jet Speed. I'm just like, why? Like, why? Why would you have MJF and Jet Speed retain? And it's like, okay, I understand it, but why at the same time, right? If you want MJF, Hangman to walk in, whatever, don't want him to take a loss before Revolution, cool. But that's not what happened. MJF caused them the win, and it sets up for their story. He hangs him out of the apron, and like when Hangman's out there standing there, and MJF, kind of sweeps him under, takes him out, causes the match, and Don Callis family are your new AEW Trios champions. And why did they take a picture-in-picture break at 10:10? Somebody tell me that. Somebody tell me that, guys. I don't know. Guys, this wasn't that bad of a Dynamite. It's just nothing happened. Like, the matches, they weren't bad like usual. I thought the matches were fine. I thought, they're building up the story between Hangman and MJF, which I love. I think that obviously that's your main event. That's the match you need to pay the most attention to. And that's exactly what they're doing. And, them losing, them being Jet Speed and Hangman, I understand why they lost, because that was to build the story between Hangman and MJF, and especially with Kevin Knight, because Kevin Knight, he lost to MJF in the beginning of the show. Also, I thought Mike Bailey looked pretty damn cool at the end of that match there. Him and Kyle Fletcher would definitely be a cool TNT championship match down the future. I do think when I forget which pay-per-view it was, when it was Okada versus Mike Bailey, that was a really good match. I think that's Mike Bailey's best one-on-one match in the company. So we'll see what happens, but it wasn't a bad show. Thekla, both champions retained their respective world titles. Didn't expect any title changes so close to Revolution. Um, they're building up the Bucks and FTR. They're promoting and recapping Collision. Just I don't think they had anything hype on the show. Um, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, the main event. Yeah, the main event. It's a long one, so hope you enjoyed that one. Okada versus Bailey in the Continental Classic. There we go. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Aaron. That was the match I was talking about. I think that is Mike Bailey's best singles match in AEW since coming to the company. So I think him and Kyle Fletcher would be pretty well. But other than that, man, I don't see anything else that really happened great. Adam Page is in it. I will enjoy. Oh yeah, and I know you're a big Adam Page guy, my friend. You're a big Adam Page guy. I like Adam Page. I know we talked about my thoughts about him. Some things about his wrestling, but he's not bad. He's not bad. But we got David Finlay. We got a debut. I'm happy that David Finlay is in AEW. Happy he's on a bigger screen. I didn't give a shit if he was in WWE, TNA, AEW. I just don't want him to be in Japan because I want to be able to watch him. I'm not paying for the TN or New Japan subscription. I got too much sports and wrestling to watch and cover to be watching New Japan at 2 a.m. So I'm happy he's on TV. I get to talk about him, watch him. Maybe they go after the Don Callis family for those trios titles. Like I said, maybe they have David Finlay be that leader of the group and have Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd kind of be the two rascals of the group. I don't know. I think it's going to be an interesting ride with those guys. Inspiration, I think, was inspiring to turn the TV off, to say the least. But other than that, guys, that was your AEW Dynamite review. Let's see. I'll take some comments here before I say goodnight to you guys. If anybody wants to chime in, I know Aaron here is chiming in here. He says, I will ride with Hangman Page until the end. I understand he's not the most favorite like Cody Rhodes, but I'm a huge fan. Praying Page wins the AEW World title at Revolution. Yeah, I mean, I do think, I think we talked about this too, where it's like, I don't know how people would feel about Hangman winning the title. I know I don't think he should. It's nothing against him. It's more the fact that I think AEW's thriving right now with MJF as their world title. Now, the last two shows you could say, especially tonight, but I do think 2026 as a whole, they're paying a lot more emphasis on him. And I think, on the world championship. And I think they're paying a lot more emphasis on the world championship because it's MJF that's holding it. I think if Hangman holds it, I don't know if it's the most interesting on the show. That's why I don't know. But it is weird because they had that stipulation. It's a Texas death. We know how Hangman is on Texas death. So I'm with you. I don't mind Hangman. I know he's not a favorite, but I'm with you until the Revolution, him winning at Revolution, I should say. I'm not saying you're wrong. I think MJF's doing well as the world champion right now. But people will criticize Adam Page, and that is fine. I'm going to remain a fan, ignore the critics. Dude, my favorite wrestler is Will Ospreay. That should tell you something, right? Everybody hates Will Ospreay. I mean, I don't mind Adam Page. I don't mind. I mind him as champion, but I don't mind Adam Page. I think he's a good wrestler. I like his. I was a big fan of him actually in the beginning of AEW. And yeah, I know you're a big fan. So, uh, we're all gonna ride or die for our guys. We're all gonna ride or die for our guys. Aaron says, just wait until Will Ospreay returns and wins the AEW World Championship this year. It's gonna happen. I hope so. If it doesn't happen this year at Wembley, it's definitely going to happen next year. I don't want him to rush into anything that's going to probably compromise him missing more time than he already has. But, he wants to be back on time for that Wembley card. I don't blame him. Him and MJF, I think, had an amazing match at Wembley 2 years ago at All In. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. I hope Will Ospreay comes back soon. We haven't seen any things within the last 2 weeks. So maybe we see him at Revolution. Again, he doesn't have to wrestle. He doesn't have to challenge for anything. All Will Ospreay has to do is literally come out and say hi to the crowd. And I think he should. Hangman Page was a good world champion. A lot of the times fans blame the wrestler, but in the end, it is the booking. Hangman Page world title run was good, defended the champion against MJF Fletcher. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think his second run was better than his first. My problem with his first run was I felt like the opponents just weren't there. I mean, I know he had his thing with Kenny. I mean, he had a good feud with Adam Cole for a little bit, but to me, I don't know what it was. I got to really think about it, and maybe we can have this conversation because I don't know why. To me, Hangman Adam Page's first title run when he beat Kenny, I believe, where it was just like him going into Punk. That run, I don't know. And Joe, even Moxley all in. Yeah, I liked his second run. His second run wasn't bad. His second run was not bad. And I think, he's gonna win the AEW title again at some point, which is, it could be. I know he has that stipulation, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's gonna be a tough one. But with that being said, guys, I think that's gonna be it tonight for your AEW Dynamite review here on the Sports Jedi Network. I want to give a quick thank you to Aaron in the chat for engaging, saying hi, giving me some thoughts here tonight for the show. I really appreciate you, my man. He didn't even finish. So I thank you. Thank you for joining me. I want to thank our guys over at Wrestle Soup, all the guys in charge doing their thing over there. Thank you guys for, bringing our content onto your platforms and showing us love. We will continue to do the same and always show love back. I want to thank absolutely, man. I appreciate it, brother. We have to say absolutely, man. May the force be with you. I'll definitely hit you up privately one of these days and we'll get the ball rolling. But yes, I want to thank Kev, Sports Jedi, obviously, of course, of Dude Wipes, our sponsors, Blackout Coffee, G Fuel Energy. If you're listening to this on audio platforms, thank you guys. Make sure leave a 5-star rating, leave a review, helps the algorithm. Leave a subscribe here on the YouTube. We are almost at, I think we're 1,000 subscribers away from 20,000. 1,000 subscribers away from 20,000. So that's going to be a good one. And I'm excited. Here. We got the Road to Revolution coming up. Revolution, unfortunately, is on a Sunday. So I will keep you guys updated with programming and stuff like that. I'm not going to do the fucking Revolution post show. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm not hitting the Revolution, doing the Revolution post show. But I might do a Revolution live review the Monday after Revolution. So keep an eye out. Definitely, talk about that. And yeah, I want to thank everybody. We'll appreciate you guys. Have a great Wednesday night. Enjoy the rest of your week. Check out, should be TNA watch along tomorrow on the Rumble, and as well as weekly wrestling this week with Kev. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. I have been PGH Chris TV. This has been the Sports Jedi Network. Good night, and may the force be with you. See ya.